Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we'll be taking a look at China's exclusive version of Halo MCC. So, a lot of people aren't aware, but in order to have Halo MCC released in China, and this is like many years ago, but in order to have it released there, they had to make a separate special version just for that country. And this version is indeed truly a separate version of MCC. It's so separate that you can actually install it side by side with the current version of MCC. And it even has a separate set of achievements, as you can see here on my achievements list. I've only gotten a few achievements for it so far, but it is an entirely separate set of achievements, and that's why some achievement hunters out there actually like to get this version of MCC, just so they can basically get a second set of achievements of MCC. It doesn't have all the current achievements that we have, but it does have a good amount of them. So the reason why this needed a separate version was to comply with government regulations in China. And because of that, to get this version of MCC, it wasn't trivial. You either need like a Chinese Xbox One in order to activate this on your account, or you need someone that has one to help you activate on your account. Only then are you able to download it from your account. And by the way, before we get into it, for some reason, when I was downloading this, I don't know like China's rating system, but it looks like this game is rated for ages 3 and up, which, you know, I could be wrong about that because I don't know how the rating system works. I couldn't find much information on it, but yeah, I just thought that was bizarre. But anyways, let's start up the game and take a look. So right away, that splash screen, and even now the intro screens, especially if you played MCC recently, you may have noticed these are pretty retro screens. I mean, I know it hasn't been that many years since MCC has been out, but yeah, this is basically launch MCC. This is what MCC looked like when it first came out, for the most part. That is because this version of MCC, like, this is the latest updated version I have of it. You know, it works on Xbox Live and everything. Everything is totally up to date. This is actually, you know, the most up to date version. But for some reason, it never actually got the same updates that, you know, the rest of the world got with their version. Like, you know, Halo Reach, for example, the new background and armor customization. Everything on this is basically completely OG. It even has these OG ranked nameplates, like the moon and the Halo ring that you get for achieving certain ranks in the ranked playlists and multiplayer. Although they're actually unlocked by default, but it's pretty cool that those nameplates are here because they don't exist anymore on our current version. Also, the settings. Yeah, there's a lot less settings in the older version, and overall, like, basically everything, it's quite a throwback. But most of the core features are all there. You know, Forge, Theater, all the games are there too. And there's even matchmaking still, like functional matchmaking. But there's only 3 playlists: Team Slayer, Ranked Team Doubles, and Rumble Pit. So 2 social playlists and 1 ranked. However, the population is not great. Yeah, you're basically never going to find anyone in the search. But let's take a look at what other differences there are. So, for the past couple days, I've been uploading some censored cutscenes from this version. There are, in fact, 2 cutscenes in this version that had stuff censored on them in order to comply with government regulations in order to get this game released in China. So, we're going to be taking a look at the differences between the censored version and our version. So the first one we're looking at is the Gravemind intro cutscene. And if you want to see the full version of this without the comparison or, you know, me talking or anything, there's a, you know, you just click this link in the top right corner, or if it's not there, I'll post it in the description. But anyways, in the Gravemind cutscene, for some reason in anniversary graphics, and only in anniversary graphics, that version of Gravemind was not allowed to be shown, and I have no idea why. I've heard a lot of rumors about why, but nothing confirmed. So basically, they had to work around Gravemind, literally, and, you know, he's still in the cutscene, but he only ever talks from off-screen. And because of that, they achieved this by changing the camera angles during certain scenes in this cutscene, which is actually pretty cool. I mean, instead of like just blurring out Gravemind or removing him entirely, they changed the angle, and we actually get to see different angles of the room, and we actually get to see a few more details that we don't normally get to see in the original cutscene. So this alternate version of the cutscene, it's pretty interesting, and it does give us a different perspective and a little bit more insight into like what's around the room. Because I've done like videos in the past of like flying around cutscene rooms and showing like what's behind the scenes and stuff like that. And people have asked me to like fly around the anniversary cutscenes and see like what else is there, but I can't because the cutscenes were pre-rendered by Blur, and because they're pre-rendered, you can't actually fly around. They're like pre-recorded cutscenes. So this alternate version, like Blur actually re-rendered a whole new cutscene for this, and it's the closest thing we'll ever get to being able to fly around and seeing like different perspectives. Now this next one, like, oh my god. The Keys cutscene where you see Captain Keys as a flood. Yeah, they totally ruined Captain Keys and the Proto Gravemind. They turned him into a giant gray blob and removed pretty much all the details and textures, and you can barely make out that it's like a person in there, like a face in there anymore. And yeah, basically for some reason that was not allowed. In classic graphics, that's fine though. Just like with the Gravemind, classic graphics is fine, but anniversary graphics, nope, not allowed. And yeah, that's basically all the cutscenes that are censored. All the others are fine, and there's like even Dr. Tilson getting like disintegrated in Halo 4, it was totally fine too, but not anniversary Gravemind and not anniversary Flood Keys. Alright, so the next thing that was basically censored is dead bodies and blood. As you can see, when you kill an enemy, or basically if you kill anything, once they die, within like a second, their body rapidly shrinks until there's nothing left. And that happens in both classic and anniversary graphics. And on top of shrinking bodies, there's no blood whatsoever. No blood at all for both anniversary and classic graphics. And it's not just for the Covenant or Flood either. If you shoot humans as well, there's absolutely no blood either in both graphics modes. And of course their bodies shrink too. Anything that's like a body will shrink immediately. Even your own biped, your own character, Master Chief, will shrink too if you die. And that's the same in Halo 2 as well. Halo 1 and Halo 2 basically have the same system for this, but newer Halo games are a little bit different, but we'll cover that very soon. But in Halo 2, same thing, no blood for both graphics modes. Bodies will shrink as well when they die in both graphics modes. However, with the Covenant, they actually also shrink the same, but sometimes the way they shrink can be a little odd, like their body might move or like flip around. But same thing, no blood with them either. Now with Halo 3, bodies don't shrink anymore. Instead, they just fade away. They're not despawning though, they're just fading away, because if they despawn, they'll just go poof. Another thing is the Covenant and the Flood now have blood. They can bleed when you shoot them, but their blood does not splatter onto the ground or the walls or anything. It comes out of them and then that's it. But for humans, still no blood, none at all. And if you were to kill them, the body also fades away as well. So that's a little progression with Halo 3. And same with Halo 4. Covenant blood is good, it's fine, A-okay, but bodies still fade away. And it's the same with all Covenant species, and Prometheans even. But for humans, nope, same thing, no blood allowed. And yeah, I don't know like why in Halo 1 and 2 they didn't allow blood, but they allowed it in Halo 3 and 4. Because it's, MCC was basically all released at the same time. All the games were pretty much added together. So I don't know like why it's different with some games than others. But it does affect all game modes. In multiplayer, Forge, even in Halo 2 Anniversary Forge, your monitor when you die, it also fades away. Also affects bosses in Halo 2 as well, like Prophet of Regret will shrink. Same with Tartarus. Once you kill him, rapidly shrinks away. And same with the Heretic Leader, also just rapidly shrinks away when he dies. It just looks really silly. And even like cut enemies like the Flood Juggernaut will also shrink if you kill it. It looks so funny. It's so huge and it just suddenly shrinks. Oh, and also bodies that are already placed around the map, they once you load in, they immediately shrink and you never really see them at all, which actually does affect the dialogue a little bit, because like this elite that was supposed to spawn here, he tells you that like the brutes have betrayed them, like the dead body actually talks, but now the dialogue isn't there anymore. I checked, so that whole line of dialogue is missing now because the body isn't there. Now the next thing, the Flood in general have also been quite censored. So because the bodies shrink, In Halo 1, the Flood do not revive at all. Like that Flood I just killed there, that one is a guaranteed revive, and it's used for the keys bump speedrun trick. But because it shrinks and just, disappears, it well, it just won't, the keys bump won't work anymore, so that whole speedrun tactic is gone. Also, Flood carriers, when they die in Halo 1, no explosion effects at all. They just go poof, and then the infection forms spawn. And the infection forms have no explosion effects either. Also, this is another weird thing, but sometimes the human Flood combat forms, they suddenly change to solid black for me. Now, I don't know if this is like something to do with the censorship in the game, or it's because launch MCC was just so broken and buggy, if you guys remember that. So sometimes it's hard to tell if something was censored or if it's just, MCC being MCC, launch MCC I should say. Now in Halo 2, same thing with the Flood. However, you can't dismember the Flood anymore. Like normally if I use the energy sword to kill a Flood, it would break it into multiple pieces. Like its arms would come off and stuff like that. And I could usually shoot the arms off too. But now if it destroys it completely, it just disappears. And you can't shoot the limbs off either with weapons. Oh, and the Flood carrier is the same as Halo 1. It just goes poof. Same with the infection forms, and it doesn't matter what graphics mode you're playing in either. Flood will just either vanish and disappear, or just go poof in general. However, unlike Halo 1, if a Flood dies on the ground and its body shrinks away, it's actually still there, and Flood can be revived. Flood infection forms can still infect the bodies and bring them back to life. So that actually puts you at a disadvantage. It's the same in Halo 3 too. The bodies aren't there physically, visibly, but they will still revive. And it's a disadvantage because in Halo 1, well, in Halo 1 it's an advantage because the Flood will come back, so it makes missions easier. But in Halo 2 and Halo 3, because the bodies fade away, you can't destroy them and stop them from coming back. So basically all Flood will always come back as long as they're infection forms, and there's nothing you can do to prevent that. And also, because the Flood can't be broken apart into pieces, they when they die, they're just given generic death animations, just like regular bodies. They just drop dead, and it just doesn't make sense because you fire like a rocket or grenade at them, they don't get blown away or anything or launched. They just kind of stand there and then just drop dead. So that basically changes it. However, one improvement in Halo 3, just like with Covenant Blood, is that Flood carriers and Flood infection forms now have those explosion effects again. So that's one change there. Now, another thing, I don't know if this is censorship in MCC or not, or if it's just a bug, but Halo 3 terminals don't work. If you activate them, you'll still get the achievement for activating it, but it doesn't actually zoom in your screen and you don't actually see the terminal, and text doesn't even show up on the screen either. So it seems like that was totally removed, or it could be a bug because launch MCC was so broken. But I don't know about that one. But as for other terminals and other Halo games on MCC, they work. You still get achievements, and they'll take you to the Halo channel app because we all remember what that was like. Now another weird thing on Halo 1, there's actually no fire at all on the Mission to the Mall. Again, I don't know if that's something that was done for censorship to get it released in China, or if it's MCC being broken. But everywhere that's supposed to be obvious fire, even during the Warthog run, there is no fire anywhere. You can it's not like it's invisible either. If you drive where the fire should be, you don't take any damage at all. It's just not there. There are still explosions all of the Warthog run, and it will throw some small fireballs here and there. But once they fade away, they're gone. There's no actual permanent fire on the map anywhere. It's a pretty clean map. And speaking of clean maps, overall, all the Flood maps, because there's no bodies, they're all pretty clean too, which is pretty weird actually. And also, speaking of old MCC bugs, because this is a very old version of MCC that never got current updates that we got, a lot of old bugs Guardians on Forge maps and Halo 3 not working, those are all back. Well, not back, but they're still around. And there's a ton of bugs. I could do a whole video of all the OG MCC bugs, but I'm just going to show you guys one example here. But they're all back. Now, another weird thing. This version of MCC actually does not seem to support the Chinese language. The voice is all English. However, in Halo 1 and 2, the text and subtitles seem to be all English as well. Only in Halo 3 and Halo 4 is the in-game text and subtitles in simplified Chinese, but the dialogue is still in English, which is strange because there actually is, a Chinese dubbed version of MCC, and our version, the version you get in the US or pretty much anywhere else in the world, you can switch that to the Chinese language, and that's fully supported as well. But in this version, that does not seem to be the case. For whatever reason, they chose not to release it with the Chinese dubs. Instead, they kept the English version, which is, I don't know, unusual, and I don't know why they did that. I don't know too much about the history of the creation of this game. But anyways, the next thing, you may be wondering, what about ODST and some of the DLCs that are added later on? Because I never really mentioned any of them yet. Well, first of all, Reach isn't in this, because Reach came out pretty recently. But for the DLCs, there were 2 DLCs released after launch, because launch went so terribly, so they released an extra Halo 2 Anniversary map and ODST. So those don't work at all, and I'm not sure why that's the case. I don't think they're actually part of the game, but they still show up for some reason. But the map Remnant, it doesn't work, it won't load in. And as for ODST, it shows up here on the menu, that the whole background and music even play as well, and it shows me all the missions. However, if I actually go into the missions, like the actual mission list, then, well, once I do that, it just immediately crashes MCC. I can't actually do ODST, and I don't actually think it's part of the game either. So those don't work at all. Now, if you're wondering if you can try this out yourself without actually getting this version of MCC, because it is a little tricky to get, you actually can do this on the PC version on Steam, and it's not that difficult. You just need to go into your MCC folder, which is wherever you installed it, and then after that, you need to create a new file. Just right-click somewhere, not on a file, but click somewhere where there's no file, and then go down to New, and then create a new text document. And I do want to thank Nibre for finding this and then letting me know about it. It's actually pretty cool. But once you create your new file, just name it Pegasus, and then delete the whole .txt at the end. And that's it. Just have the Pegasus file there. It's a blank file, it's 0 bytes. It's just basically nothing. But once it's there in the root of your MCC folder, just go on, MCC PC on Steam and go into campaign, and then you can basically experience some of the weirdness. Now, not all of it is still, working on this version of MCC anymore. But on Halo 2 Anniversary, for example, shrinking bodies and no blood does seem to work in both classic and anniversary graphics, so that's all fine. But on Halo 1 Anniversary, dead bodies are now allowed to be showed. Or not allowed, but they do work now. And there is blood now, but the blood doesn't stick to the ground though. It does come out the bodies, just nothing on the ground. And it's the same in both graphics mode again. So, I'm guessing that whole censorship mode is not maintained anymore, and I guess over time less and less of it works. So it's definitely something that may not even be around much longer in the future. And also for Halo Reach, nothing happens at all. And that makes sense because Halo Reach was released much later, before the whole this whole censorship mode was created. So it makes sense just nothing in it for it. But yeah, once again, I do want to thank Nibre for figuring this out on PC. And if you guys want to try it yourself, just to experience this and see what it's like, feel free to. Like I said, it won't have everything in it, but it will have a small taste of what this version of MCC is like. But yeah, so there you guys have it. That is what China's exclusive version of Halo MCC is like, and how it's different compared to our version. And there are quite a few differences, as you've seen. But yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and found it to be interesting. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. If there's anything else you want to see about it, if you have any questions about it, let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely do my best to answer them. But other than that, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.